Hello, and welcome to Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. So, in this particular episode, I'd like to talk a little bit about what Trump is doing with the U.S. Postal Service and how it affects each and every one of us in this democracy. First of all, it is an open and blatant attempt to cheat on the upcoming election. And unfortunately, there are Republican governors who are assisting with this effort. They are literally taking away voting stations and consolidating voting stations so that there is only one or two where there used to be several of them, thereby making it number one, harder to find, number two, harder to get to, and number three, harder to vote. So, first of all, what is the ramifications of this? Well, in order to analyze that, we have to realize that Trump must believe that if more people were allowed to vote, his chances of winning would be less. So he's doing all this to cheat. Okay. Um, and it's such an overt manner that he's doing it. It sometimes boggles the mind to realize that a president of the United States is openly cheating in the attempt of trying to win the next election. One of the problems we have is that Mitch McConnell and other senators, of course, they sit there and they cower down in a corner, letting Trump do all this, letting him get away with all this, and they don't say a thing. In fact, what does Mitch McConnell do? He says to the senators, "We're going to take a recess, and we're going to come back in a month," thereby allowing an easy way for him to get out with all of his senators without having to comment on Trump attacking democracy like he is. So, at first blush, I'm a little confused why we don't have some lawsuits that are going against Trump at this point. Number one, there are various criminal statutes, literal criminal statutes, that prevent someone from interfering with the Postal Service. And I think you would agree this is interfering with the Postal Service. So there are criminal statutes, which of course is difficult to indict or bring any charges against a sitting president. So that's one thing. But in my opinion, there could be an injunction that could be filed to stop this. If you saw pictures previously on it was on the Twitter feed and other places where there was literally a truck that had post offices, that had the mailboxes put in the truck. And these particular, the reason they gave for that was that, well, they're not used very often and it's just more efficient. Well, I defy anybody to say in their past, at any time, have they ever seen a post office, a mailbox taken from its location and removed. And then we look at the sorting machines. There are these huge sorting machines that have thousands of letters that go every hour that help the mail get to where it's going. There's been about 13 of those that have just been removed. It is just so blatant what is happening. So while I'm sure that there will be hopefully lawsuits filed and an injunction, which means that some judge somewhere will order the cessation of all of this while the merits of the suit goes forward, we all need to remember that in order to make our votes count, the second you get the absentee ballot, fill it out and either send it back or bring it and drop it off at the polling station in order to make your vote count. Don't wait. Don't wait until, 3 days or 4 days before the election to allow Trump to win this particular interference with our democracy. Because when we think about it, this is one of the greatest elements of democracy, which is the right to vote. You remember when they were impeaching Trump, all that they had to go through, and then how they went through the shenanigans at the Senate, how they wouldn't allow not a single witness to come forward. It was just a joke. If we had that in a real trial, they would think it was a puppet trial. But with the right to vote, we, the people, don't need to have a trial. We don't need to go through procedural guards. We don't need to have the justice of the Supreme Court overviewing a trial. We don't need to make motions where the majority seems to win. All we need to do is vote. And that is exercising our constitutional rights. It is also exercising the greatest right we have as a democracy. And I think that you will agree with me. If we had 4 more years of Trump with what he has already done, with the safeguards already in place, is mind boggling. If, if, if he were reelected, just think about what he would do with what he's already done. So it is critical. I know, every 4 years you hear this is the most important election, but this really is. I mean, I'm an attorney, and I did not think that someone in the office of presidency could do as much damage internationally and nationally as Trump has done. And with the, implicit help from the senators and the other people and the governors who let not only let him do it without questioning him, but assist him. Things have got to change. They have to. It really isn't a vote coming up for democracy versus, for Democrats versus Republican. It's a vote for democracy versus fascism. That's the reality of where we're heading, and maybe even worse. We need to get people in office that will help control the pandemic, that will get the economy moving again, that will listen to science, that will get us back on track with the world again, and get us being the United States respected again inside the US and outside the US, and all of the white races who follow Trump. They can't control our country. We are better than that. Definitely, we are. We are a melting pot of people from all over the world, and that's what makes United States great. So the whole purpose of this stream is to get out there and vote early, and hopefully the postmaster, inspector general, and the lawsuits and all this will resolve it. But in case it doesn't, vote early the moment you get it, and make sure you're registered. Okay, thank you.